They're all nodding. So there we go. So we got that. All right, so let's begin the academic challenge for tonight. Lewis will say the number of points, and then he will ask the question, and the first person to buzz in, again, wait for me to recognize you, and we will begin. So, Lewis.
All right, the first question for 5 points. Let's begin with a little French phrase. What does merci beaucoup mean?
Matt from Bridgman.
The death blow.
Incorrect.
Anybody on South Haven? You'll have 5 seconds to answer. Time is up. What is the correct answer, Lewis?
Thank you very much.
No points for that one. Our next question.
For 10 points, the greatest liberty man has ever taken with nature. English writer James Bryce said this in 1912 about what engineering feat then under construction?
We have Lexi from South Haven.
The building of the railroad.
Incorrect.
Matt from Bridgman.
The Erie Canal.
Incorrect. The Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal. No points on that one.
For 15 points, decomposed organic matter that can be used as fertilizer is called what?
Matt from Bridgman.
Compost.
That's correct, for 15 points.
15 points.
For 5 points, as much as the city loved football, you'd think that its tallest building, St. Vincent's Hospital, was named after Coach Vince Lombardi. Name the city.
Jake from South Haven.
Indianapolis.
Incorrect.
Matt from Bridgman.
Dallas.
Incorrect. City is Green Bay.
No points for that one.
For 5 points, this city has earned the nickname Cereal Capital because it's home to 2 large breakfast food manufacturing.
Matt from Bridgman.
Battle Creek.
That's correct, for 5 points.
5 points.
For 10 points, give the surname of the fictional married crime solvers Nick and Nora, the couple introduced in The Thin Man by Dashiell Hammett.
And we usually have 10 seconds for you to answer the question. Time is up.
And the surname is Charles.
All right.
For 20 points, who was it that said, as the fog lifted from 2 armies about to clash, it is well that war is so terrible. Who would grow too fond of it? I'm sorry, let me read that again. For 20 points, who was it that said, as the fog lifted from 2 armies about to clash, it is well that war is so terrible. We would grow too fond of it.
Matt from Bridgman.
Walt Whitman.
Incorrect.
South Haven, 5 seconds. Time's up.
Robert E. Lee.
Get some groans on that one.
For 5 points. One day, wrote Paul Bowler, he went swimming in the Atlantic and friends decided to join him. But on second thought, one said, perhaps we'd better wait. The president is using the ocean. The president referred to was, in fact, our fattest president. Name him.
Matt from Bridgman.
Taft.
That's correct.
For 5 points.
For 5 points. For 15 points, Gene Upshaw was a Hall of Fame football player who went on to head the NFL Players Union and helped boost salaries and benefits through free agency. For which team did he play his whole professional career?
Matt Bridgman.
The Bears.
Incorrect.
South Haven, 5 seconds. Lindsay, South Haven.
The 49ers.
Incorrect. It was the Raiders.
The Raiders. And you don't lose points for buzzing in if you get it incorrect, so it's always worth taking a chance on something.
For 5 points, spell the adverb coolly.
Time's up.
And the proper spelling is Coolly.
All right, no points.
For 15 points, to the nearest minute, at what time between 7 and 8 o'clock will the 2 hands of a clock be in a straight line?
Lindsay from South Haven.
6 o'clock? Or no, never mind.
Okay.
Incorrect.
Bridgman, 5 seconds. Matt, Bridgman,
7:30.
Incorrect. 7:05.
7:05. And about 5 minutes left in this round.
For 5 points, the original Olympic Games were local contests on the plain of Olympia. In whose honor were they held?
Connor from Bridgman.
The Greek gods.
The Greek gods.
It needs to be more specific.
Zeus.
Correct.
Correct for 5 points.
For 15 points, there are two basic categories of skiing events. One includes the cross-country and jumping events, and the other encompasses all the downhill events. Name the two categories and tell me which is which.
Time's up.
And the answer is Nordic skiing and cross-country, and jumping alpine skiing downhill events. For 10 points, the most common catastrophe in the ancient world's storehouse of literature is that of A, a battle of incredible proportions, B, meeting one's mother-in-law during eternal life, C, a great flood.
Lexi from South
C,
Haven.
flood.
That's correct.
For 10 points.
For 10 points. For 5 points, if I mentioned Victorian, Georgian, Spanish colonial, French colonial, Cape Cod, ranch, and row, what would I be discussing?
Matt from Bridgman.
Architectural styles of houses.
That's correct, for 5 points. For 5 points, on Easter Sunday, 1939, Marian Anderson gave a concert at the Lincoln Memorial after being denied Constitutional Hall in Washington. This was due to the racial policies of what patriotic women's organization?
Matt from Bridgman.
Mothers of the Revolution.
No.
No.
Nope, incorrect.
Incorrect.
South Haven. Time's up.
The answer is Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough one there.
For 10 points, man must evolve from all human conflict and method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. Name the famous African American who spoke those words when he accepted the Nobel Peace Prize.
Lindsay from South Haven.
Nelson Mandela.
Incorrect.
Bridgman. Matt from Bridgman.
Martin Luther King Jr.
That's correct for 10 points.
Good. About a little over 2 minutes left.
For 10 points, if you had one bill with Ulysses S. Grant on it, two bills with Benjamin Franklin on them, and three bills with Thomas Jefferson's picture, how much money would you have?
Matt from Bridgman.
$240.
Incorrect.
Jake from South Haven.
$290.
Incorrect. It'd be $256.
All right.
For 15 points, what kind of animal is a Linus longissimus, the longest of animals with a length longer than the width of a football field?
Lexi, South Haven.
A giant squid.
Incorrect.
South Haven or Bridgman?
A
Matt?
tapeworm.
No.
Incorrect.
That would be a
ribbon worm.
ribbon worm. Would that be a tapeworm? Teachers, would that be? I think we'll just move on.
We're gonna get no
points on
points.
that one. I think a ribbon worm and a tapeworm. I'm not quite sure. Okay.
All
next
right.
one.
For 15 points, what do the following verses have in common? Verse A, Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. And phrase B, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Lindsay, South Haven.
Same rhythm.
Same rhythm.
Rhythm scheme.
Yes, for 15 points.
15 points.
It's the same tune, same thing.
Same
Yeah,
tune
that's
for
kinda
15.
For 5 points, incredibly, there are 550 miles of underground corridors running like streets in all directions, used for centuries at burial places in Rome. What are they called?
Matt from Bridgman.
Catacombs.
That's correct for 5 points. For 20 points, which hard plant is a green alternative to traditional wood flooring because of its durability?
Alex from South Haven
Bamboo.
That's correct for 20 points.
for 20 points. So 5, 10, 15, 20. All right. So, well, that's the end of the first half of today's academic challenge. We'll be back with the score and the 60-second round after this on WSJM, the news and talk of Michigan's Great Southwest. All right. Take a little breather.
Answer. He did try. He did actually try. I know. Like he tried. I was just mad because I.
Take a guess.
What's I doing?
He don't know I knew the answer, and I was about to switch back.
I'll leave it if it's a sports question. These guys at least probably know something.
Subjects.
And then we'll tell them before we start.
I know for your script.
Yeah, turns out like I didn't say time for that Zeus one. I was like, I knew Zeus because we basically in mythology we've established if it's in Greek, it's Zeus. He's literally the father of everything.
I was hoping that.
No what?
I can do the states. I can do
I know at least half the states.
Musical
I know
instruments
every single state and where they are.
and the Declaration of Independence.
Can we also do one that we all agree on at least? I think.
All right, we'll begin here in just a minute. I want to give you the 3 categories before we start for the 60-second round, and I'll announce the score and let you know what your score is. But the 3 categories before we start then, the first one is called Con, C-O-N. The second one would be musical instruments. And the third one is the Declaration of Independence. And I'll let you choose which category you would like when we begin here.
Can
Okay?
you explain the first one, like what it all means? 'Cause
Con.
it's just con.
That's all I can say right now. It's just con. He'll explain it when he gets to the question. Yeah.
How do you decide who picks?
So I will ask for a team captain. And once we get into it, so I'll ask you who your team captain is once we get the recording going.
Musical instruments.
Typically, it's the person closest to me, but it doesn't have to be. But it doesn't have to be. So, Bridgman, who would you like to be your team captain? Matt, you want to be? Okay. So, and I'll ask you again once we start the recording. Again, during the 60-second round, people, you can consult with one another, before you give me the answer. But once the team captain gives me the answer, that is the answer that I have to take, and he will say, correct or incorrect. If you get through all 10 of them, and like say you took a pass on one on the first question, you answer all the other 9. If the time isn't up yet, you can still come back to that first question again, and as long as we still have 60 seconds. Okay? Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, we will begin the 60-second round in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Academic Challenge on WSJM. I'm Ray Gustafson. At the end of the first half, the score is South Haven 50, Bridgman 40. Now on to the 60-second round. Teams, you have 3 categories to choose from. We'll give you 60 seconds to answer as many of the 10 questions as you can. Each of the questions is worth 10 points. There will be a 20-point bonus if you answer all 10 questions within the 60-second time limit. You're encouraged to consult with one another at this point, but the answers must come from the team captain. After the minute is up, the opposing team will have a chance to answer any questions the first team could not answer. So, Bridgman, you are trailing at the moment. So you have first choice of these categories. The first one is con. The second one, musical instruments. And the third one is the Declaration of Independence. First off, who's your team captain, Bridgman?
I'm the team captain.
Matt? Matt is our team captain. Matt, what is your choice?
We're going to go with Declaration of Independence.
Declaration of Independence. We'll get 60 seconds on the clock, and the time will begin as soon as Lewis reads the first question.
You ready?
We are ready.
All right.
We'll move through these pretty quick now.
All right. What are the opening words of the Declaration of Independence?
Feel free to shout out the answers now and consult. Or you can pass.
Pass.
In what year was the Declaration signed?
1778.
Incorrect. In what building was the Declaration proclaimed?
Independence Hall.
That's correct. What signature was the largest?
John Hancock.
That's correct. Who was the oldest signer?
Ben Franklin.
That's correct. How many signers became future presidents?
3.
Incorrect. Name one of the signers who became president.
John Adams.
That's correct. Name another signer who became president.
Thomas Jefferson.
That's correct. Which signer, known as the financier of the American Revolution, ended up in debtor's prison?
Hamilton.
Incorrect.
All right. So, Bridgman, you answered 5 out of the 10 correctly. Nice job. For a total of 50 points. So now, South Haven, you have a chance to pick up points from any of the unanswered questions. There are 5 of those. And we'll ask those questions that Bridgman did not get correct. And if you are ready, we will begin. You'll have 60 seconds to try to answer their 5 questions. And we'll begin with the time as soon as he begins reading the question.
What are the opening words of the Declaration of Independence?
We the people.
Incorrect. In what year was the Declaration signed?
1776.
That's correct. How many signers became future presidents?
13.
Incorrect. Which signer, known as the financier of the American Revolution, ended up in debtor's prison?
Franklin.
Incorrect. And where is the Declaration of Independence housed and displayed today?
The Smithsonian.
Incorrect.
Correct. All right, so South Haven answered 1 and picked up 10 points. So now we'll turn the tables over to the second part of our 60-second round, and we will give South Haven a chance to pick one of the 2 remaining categories. The remaining categories would be musical instruments or con. We'll do the 60 seconds for you, and then if you don't answer any correctly, the ones you don't answer correctly, we'll give Bridgman a chance to pick up some extra points on that. So we have con or musical instruments. What would you like to choose?
Musical instruments.
Musical instruments it is. The 60 seconds will begin.
Hang on, I
gotta read first.
As soon as Lewis reads the beginning and kind of opens it up, and then we'll start the timer after he's done explaining.
All right. Orchestras are divided into 4 major sections: woodwinds, strings, percussion, and brass. Classify these instruments. The carillon.
Pass.
The contrabass.
Brass.
Incorrect. Contrabassoon.
Woodwind.
That's correct. Cornet.
Brass.
That's correct. Fife.
Woodwind.
That's correct. The glockenspiel.
Percussion.
That's correct. The marimba.
Percussion.
The spinet.
Was percussion correct?
Pass.
Yes. Trombone.
Brass.
That's correct. And the virginal.
String.
That's correct.
Can we go back
to one
Yep.
that they didn't answer.
Carillon.
Percussion.
That's correct. Contrabass.
String.
That's correct. And the spinet.
Percussion.
That's incorrect.
Okay. All right. So that was a very good round. We got 9 out of the 10. Nice job. So picking up 90 points there. I guess, Bridgman, you shouldn't have too much trouble answering the one question that's remaining in the 60 seconds for the remainder. And so we'll give you the opportunity to pick up an extra 10 points if you can answer this last one. Lewis, read the top part of that and one more time for us.
The orchestras are divided into 4 major sections: woodwinds, strings, percussion, and brass. Classify these instruments. Spinet.
Strings.
That's correct.
Correct for 10 points. And there we go. All right, that ends the 60-second round. We'll check the scores and conclude the game next here on WSJM, the news and talk of Michigan's great Southwest. All right, so we got a break. Let me add up the scores here real quick, and we'll see how we fared in here.
So what were the first words? It's a preamble.
I knew it, but I didn't know what else it could be, so I just went with the only thing I knew. Could I have just said we? That's the first word. I started we.
Okay, when we come back now, when we start again, what I'll do is I'll announce the score. And then what I'll do is come to the team captains. And do you have something that you would like to say about the school? Possibly, is there some events coming up, or something? It looks like you have a couple of things ready to go. Lexi, did you bring anything, Matt, to kind of talk about?
Yep.
Got a few things. Okay. So we'll I'll throw it to Lexi. I'll come to you first, then, and you can kind of talk about what's going on, and then I'll come over to you, Matt, and we'll do that. Okay, and you don't have to buzz in to do those, and then we'll take off on our second part. All right. We don't have any substitutions. We're in good shape. All right, second half of the academic challenge coming up in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Academic Challenge on WSJM. I'm Ray Gustafson, your host. The score at the end of the 60-second round is Bridgman 105 to Southaven 150. It's time now to find out what's happening at each of our participating schools. First, from Southaven, Lexi, tell us what's going on.
We'd like to say congratulations to the Southaven Band, who received straight 1s and straight A's at the MSBOE Districts Festival. And then also tonight is senior night for our girls swim team. Best of luck to our seniors in the future endeavors, and thank you for your hard work and dedication. The Southaven Choir concert will be tomorrow, October 21st. We would love to see everyone there. And thank you to the sponsors, Lake Michigan College, Berrien Springs Public Schools, and Lakeshore Public Schools.
Good. And we'll move over to Bridgman. And Matt, tell us what's going on at Bridgman.
All right, so the cross-country team won the BCS conference again for the 9th year in the row. Go Bees. Bridgman football has made it onto the playoffs, and they're playing Gobles. I think this is the 2nd or 3rd year in a row they've done that. Bridgman volleyball is having their senior night tonight. Tennis went to state for the first time in 5 years, and they did pretty well. The equestrian team won reserve championship at state, which is probably the first time in Berrien County history. And also Michigan State won, which was pretty cool. So that's what's going on.
Unless you're not a Michigan State fan. Right? Yeah, exactly.
You might have just made some better me.
All right.
But not by us.
Continuing on with the academic challenge, let's begin the second half of today's academic challenge on WSJM between Southaven and Bridgman. So the second half is much like the first half. We'll go through. Lewis will introduce how many points each question is worth. Feel free to buzz in. Again, no consultation on this. Once you buzz in, wait for me to call on you, and then and answer the question. If you don't get it correctly, the other team will have 5 seconds to answer the question and try to steal the points away from you. And we'll begin the second half as soon as Lewis starts with the first question.
All right. For 15 points, the Rainbow Bridge between Canada and the U.S. crosses what river?
Matt from Bridgman.
St. Mary's.
Incorrect.
Lindsay from Southaven.
Detroit.
Incorrect. The Niagara River. For 10 points, a form of business under private enterprise where there is organization by associates or a person and legalization through a state charter is called what?
Matt from Bridgman.
LLC.
Incorrect.
Southaven, 5 seconds. Lexi, Southaven.
A corporation?
That's correct for 10 points.
10 points.
For 5 points, if you had a diadem, where would you wear it on your head, plant it in your garden, put it in your fish pond, or burn it in a fireplace?
Jake from Southaven.
On your head.
That's correct. It's a crown.
For 10 points.
For 10 points, sidereal means related to the stars. How do you spell sidereal?
Time's up. Now you get to spell it, Lewis.
Sidereal. Sidereal. Sidereal.
Anybody have it close? Were you close, Lindsay? Yes.
I just needed
All right, for
next
20
question.
points, which of William Wordsworth's poem has these opening lines? There was a time when meadow, grove, and stream, the earth and every common sight, to me did seem apparelled in celestial light, the glory and freshness of a dream. Hint. The title of this poem is considered to be the longest title of any work by a major author.
And the longest question I think we've had tonight, too. Time's up.
The answer, Ode, intimations of immortality from recollections of early childhood.
Almost had to take a breath in between that one.
So close.
All right.
All right, for 20 points, it was said during the 17th century that French bishops had to serve two masters. Which two masters?
Matt from Bridgman.
The king and God.
Incorrect.
South Haven, 5 seconds. Lexi, South Haven.
God and the people.
Incorrect. King as the head of state and the Pope as the head of the church. For 15 points, satellites have the capability of
Photographing?
Yeah, thank you. Satellites have the capability of photographing any section of the Earth if they are placed in what type of orbit?
Sam from Bridgman.
Triangular.
Incorrect.
South Haven, 5 seconds. Jake from South Haven.
Circular.
Incorrect. Polar orbit. For 15 points, France's longest river, the Loire, empties into which body of water?
Matt from Bridgman.
Bay Biscay.
That's correct for 15 points. For 5 points, the U.S. Supreme Court has 9 members. The court cannot conduct business unless there is a quorum of how many members?
Lexi from South Haven.
7.
Incorrect.
Bridgman, 5 seconds. Matt from Bridgman.
9.
Incorrect. 6. For 5 points, the Blue Mountains in southeastern Australia are all.
Start over.
Yes. For the Blue Mountains in southeastern Australia are so called due to the blue haze caused by oil droplets given off by what kind of trees?
Lexi from South Haven.
Eucalyptus.
That's correct.
Nice job.
For
That
5
was
points.
5 points. Good.
For 10 points, what sport sees striped shirted men working on the chain gang?
Jake from South Haven.
Rugby.
Incorrect.
Matt from Bridgman.
Soccer.
Incorrect. Football.
Oh. That makes sense now.
All right. Next question.
For 15 points, in Kipling's Just So Stories, the elephant's child made a long journey to the great gray, green, greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees. What was the purpose of the journey?
Matt from Bridgman.
To find water.
Incorrect.
South Haven, 5 seconds. Time's up.
He wanted to find out what the crocodiles eat for dinner.
Just under 5 minutes.
For 5 points, the great gray, green, greasy Limpopo River is not a creation of Kipling's imagination. On what continent is, in fact, it's located?
Matt from Bridgman.
Africa.
That's correct for 5 points. For 5 points, what North American city fell in 1759 after the assaulting army surprised defenders by scaling a steep cliff?
Matt from Bridgman.
Montreal.
Incorrect.
South Haven, 5 seconds. Time's up.
Quebec.
Quebec.
For 10 points, one of the many obstacles in building the Trans-Siberian Railroad was what Chinese territory?
Matt from Bridgman.
Manchura.
Incorrect.
South Haven, 5 seconds. Time's up.
Mongolia.
All right.
For 10 points, when Andrew Johnson died on July 31st, 1875, what resulted was the rarity of American history when there were no living ex-presidents. Who was the president at the time?
Matt from Bridgman.
Franklin Pierce.
Incorrect.
South Haven, want to take a stab? Lexi, South Haven.
Kennedy.
Incorrect.
Correct.
Grant was the president. What event, ironically, was ended by the Great Fire of London in 1666?
Matt from Bridgman.
The plague.
That's correct for 10 points. For 15 points, at what age can one vote in national elections in Saudi?
Lexi from South Haven.
18.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Finish the question, please.
Saudi Arabia.
Matt from Bridgman.
21.
Incorrect. There are no national elections in Saudi Arabia.
Ooh, trick question. You're getting tricky on us, Lewis.
For 20 points, found on a Minnesota farm in 1898, this stone is inscribed with a runic account.
Lexi from South Haven.
Rosetta.
Incorrect. With a runic account of a Norse exploration in 1362. Identify it.
Bridgman, you got 5 seconds. Matt from Bridgman.
The North Stone.
The North Stone.
Norse.
The Norse Stone. That would
Incorrect.
That'd be incorrect. Yep.
The Kensington Stone.
Kensington Stone. I should know that. I'm from Minnesota.
For 10 points, in television or movies, it is when a new shot gradually appears while simultaneously the old shot fades from view. In chemistry, it is when a substance goes into solution. What's the word?
Jake from South Haven.
Dissolve.
That's correct for 10 points. All right, a math question for 15 points.
Get your pencils ready.
If a stone weighs 125 grams in air and 75 grams in water, what is the specific gravity of the stone?
Matt from Bridgman.
50 pounds.
Incorrect.
5 seconds, South Haven. Lindsay from South Haven.
50 grams.
Incorrect. 2.5.
Less than a minute remaining.
For 10 points, once the dominant form of plant life on Earth, these primitive flora are now popular as decorative items in the home. Among the varieties are Christmas, Maidenhair, and Boston. Name them.
Matt from Bridgman.
Carnivorous trees.
Incorrect.
South Haven, 5 seconds. Jake from South Haven.
Lilies.
Incorrect. Ferns. For 5 points, what two colors, when mixed, make purple?
Lexi from South Haven.
Red and blue.
That's correct for 5 points.
All right, well, that does it. That's the end of today's academic challenge match. We'll tabulate the scores and announce the winners after this on WSJM, the news and talk of Michigan's Great Southwest. All right, so just kind of hang tight for a second. I'll get the scores together, and then we'll wrap the whole thing up and applaud and high five everybody. And
Can we also hang loose?
hang
Sure.
loose, but just kind of got it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was asleep.
All right, we'll wrap this thing up here quickly. I've got the score tabulated. And we'll come back for the end of the academic challenge in 3, 2, 1. We're back on WSJM's Academic Challenge to announce today's winner and, of course, thank our sponsors. The winners by a score of 190 to 135 is the team from South Haven. Congratulations, South Haven. Thank you all for joining us on WSJM's Academic Challenge, brought to you by Lakeshore Public Schools, Lake Michigan College, and Berrien Springs Public Schools. Join us again next week at this time as Berrien Springs and Countryside go head-to-head on Academic Challenge. And we're done.
Nice job, Bridget.
You did very good.
Fun night.